In this video, I will explain our writing assignment number 2 and the problems in it. Our writing assignment contains word problems from homeworks 10 to 14, which is really just homework 13 because there weren't word problems in the others. There's 3 types of problems, and so I repeat these a lot in this assignment. You have 10 problems. Each of the 3 problems is repeated twice, except for one of them I repeated 4 times just to make nice 10 problems. Here, the sum of 2 numbers is 60. One number is 4 times as large as the other. What are the numbers? So we were working with systems of equations, so we can set these up. So the sum of 2 numbers is 60, so we can translate that exactly into math. So sum means plus, and the sum of 2 numbers like x and y, you can say a and b, whatever, means equals 60. So that first sentence translates to x plus y equals 60. Next, one number is 4 times as large as the other. So one number, you could use x or y, doesn't matter, is equals 4 times as large as the other, so 4 times y. Then you have these 2 equations, which is our sort of system, and you can solve. And it'd probably be best to use the substitution method. We're asked what are the numbers, so we have to find x and y. So what we'll do is take this, since we know what x is, and plug it right in for x here. So I will do that below. I'll write down x plus y equals 60 first, and since x is 4y, I'm going to plug in 4y plus y equals 60, and then 5y equals 60, so I just solve for y, and I know 12 times 5 is 60, so y is 12. Now we find the other number, and you can plug in y, 12 for y in either equation. I'll choose the bottom equation, so if y is 12, that looks like x is 48. So then you would type in the larger number is 48 and the smaller number is 12. On the next problem, 1 month Elsa rented 5 movies and 6 video games for a total of $48. The next month she rented 3 movies and 2 video games for a total of $18. Find the rental cost for each movie and each video game. So you can see what 2 main things this problem is about: movies and video games. So we can use M for movies and V for video games. So in the first sentence, 5 movies she rented and 6 video games. So each of those 5 movies and each of the 6 video games cost a total of $48. This really brings me back to Blockbuster days. The next month she rented 3 movies, so we have a similar thing in the second sentence, and 2 video games for $18. Find the rental cost of each. So we're solving for M and V. So you can use a substitution method. Everything's lined up, so it's kind of attractive to use the addition method. Remember the addition with elimination method? So here's our 2 equations, and what we need for the addition method is the m's are lined up, the v's are lined up, and the numbers on the other side, the equal sign, are lined up. And the second thing you want to happen is that the m's or the v's or both add up to 0. It's not going to just happen this way. If we added up the m's, we get 8m. If we added up the v's, we get 8v. We need a 0 for either one or even both. So we have to make it happen. So what I'm going to do, there's 2 different ways you can make this happen. I'm going to choose to multiply the top equation, every term in the top equation, by -2. And I'm going to multiply the bottom equation by 6. Now I'm going to write over here what my new system of equations looks like. -2 times each term is -10m minus 12v equals, and -2 times 48 is -96. And then 6 times each one of these terms. So I have 18m plus 12v equals 6 times 18 is 10 something 8. I have to make sure. 48 and 108. So now you can see why I did that. Because the v's will add up to 0. That's why I picked -2 because I saw the 6 here. And I picked 6 because I saw the 2 here. I could have made the 6 negative instead of the 2. I would have got plus 12e minus 12e. That's just fine. Now I'm going to add these. Negative 10m plus 18m is 8m. The v's kind of cancel out of the equation because they add to 0. 108 minus 96. Make sure I got this, that I'm thinking about this right. So is 12. 108 minus 96 is 12. Okay, so m will equal 12 over 8, which is precisely what decimal? So I'll use my calculator. 1.5. So that's okay because we're talking about cost in dollars and cents. Now that I found m is 1.5, I can plug that into either one of these equations and find v. I'll choose the bottom equation, what the heck, and find out what v is. Sorry if you hear fireworks. There's always fireworks at night here. So 3 times 1.5 plus 2v equals 18. And so 3 times 1.5 is 4.5. So you have 4.5 plus 2v equals 18. Now I need like terms together on the same side of the equal sign so that I can combine them. That means this 4.5 needs to go by the 18, so I need to move that 4.5 over from the left side to the right side. And of course I will subtract 4.5 in order to make that happen. And I have to do it to both sides. And I'll take that work over here. And so what I'll have is 2v equals, I want to double check, 13.5. And so v, because I have to divide both sides by 2, will be 6.75. So rental cost for each movie, M, is $1.50. And rental cost for each video game is $6.75. Wow. Rent a movie for $1.50. I remember I used to work at a dollar theater in college, and movies were actually $1. I'm going to try to delete my writing I was working on already on this slide, and I'm just going to end up writing it again, but I'd rather do that. I think the delete all type of thing is not going to work here. So the Sugar Sweet Company will choose from 2 companies to transport its sugar to market. The first company charges $28.96 to rent trucks, plus an additional fee of $225.75 for each ton of sugar. The second company charges $4,500 to rent trucks, plus an additional fee of $125.50 for each ton of sugar. What amount of sugar do the 2 companies charge the same? Just what tons? What is the cost when the 2 companies charge the same? So they're asking for tons here and dollar here. So you got 2 companies. The first company charges $28.96 for trucks, plus an additional fee of $225 for each ton of sugar. So they both have 2 things to the charge. So the first company charges $28.96 for the trucks, plus $225.75 for each ton of sugar, so times T. because if it was 1 sugar, this times 1. If it was 1 ton, sorry. If it was 2 tons, 225 times 2 then. So that's why we use multiplication. And this is the 2 parts to that charge. That's all we know about that first company. The second company has the same kind of setup. 4,500, but this part is cheaper per ton. For what amount of sugar? The tons, do the 2 companies charge the same? You're solving for T here. So here's one company and here's the other, and they want to know, when is that charge the same? So let me see if I can start that here. What you would do is set these equal to each other. This total charge from this company equal to this. When is equal? What does T equal? What is T? The value of T when the 2 charges are the same. So you just set the 2 equal to each other. And now you've got one equation with that one type of unknown variable, T, so you can solve for it. A bunch of messy numbers, big numbers, but so what? You still use your properties of equality to get the like terms on the same side of the equal sign, so you can combine them. So I'm going to choose to move 2896 over to the right side of the equation. Now I'm going to have to write all these numbers out like crazy. And so I want that 2896 to disappear from the left side and appear on the right side. And so I'm going to subtract, this should be plus in here, this 2896 from both sides. 2896 minus 2896 is that 0 that we need to keep that other number by itself. 225 75t equals, use a calculator, 4,500 minus 2896 is 1604. Plus 125.50t. Now I need these t's to be together, so I'm going to move this over to that side, and you would subtract 125t from both sides. So I'm just going to show it on that left side. Okay, so I subtracted 125.50 from both sides. I just show it on the left side. Now I'm going to combine these like terms, 225.75, make sure you're typing things in correctly, and 125.5 minus. So that's 100.25t equals 1604. So then when I have that, 100.25t equals 1604, I need to divide both sides by that 125. So that these cancel and I can have t by itself. So 1604 by 125 is 16 tons. I would definitely go through, when you do this problem, go through and double check all your math, because it's easy to actually turn around numbers and get the incorrect answer. Now this asks, what is the cost when the 2 companies charge the same? So when we know when the 2 are the same, we set them equal. So we know t would be 16 when they're the same. So all you need to do is take either one of these equations and plug in 16 for t and simplify that. I'll do that to the bottom since it's right there. 4,500 plus 125.50 times 16. And you're just simplifying that. See what you get and check me. So plus, so that looks like 6508. Always double check your answers when you got numbers like this. So 6508 in here. And now we've covered all 3 types of problems. So here's another one like that first problem. The sum of 2 numbers is 44. The larger number is 14 more than the smaller number. What are the numbers? So the sum of 2 numbers, like x plus y, is 44. And the larger number, maybe x, could be y, doesn't matter which one actually. The larger number is 14 more than, so that's plus the smaller number. So in the previous problem, I think we had times or some word that indicated times. So now we have these 2 equations, and we've got to find out what's the smaller and what's the larger number. And again, since I know what x is, it's already solved for right there, I can plug it right into this equation for x. So with x plus y equals 44, I'll plug in what we know x to be, 14 plus y equals 44. And so we can combine these like terms here, 14 plus 2y equals 44. Now I need to combine the 14 and 44. This should be equals here. The 14 and 44 need to be combined, so I'm going to make the 14 disappear from the left side and appear on the right side by subtracting 14, and do that to both sides. So this should be 2y equals 30, and y would be 15 there, because I know what 30 divided by 2 is. So now I need to find x. So you can use either the top equation or the bottom. I'll use the bottom one. You should get the same answer with either. So x equals 14 plus y, and I know y to be 15. So it looks like x is 29. So the larger number is 29, and the smaller is 15. Now, on this word problem, a store is having a sale on chocolate chips and walnuts. For 2 pounds of chocolate chips and 5 pounds of walnuts, the total cost is $20. For 8 pounds of chocolate chips and 3 pounds of walnuts, the total cost is $29. Find the cost of each pound of chocolate chips and walnuts. So obviously this, the 2 main things that this problem is about is chocolate chips and walnuts. So we can use C for chocolate chips and W for walnuts. A store is having a sale on chocolate chips and walnuts. So for 2 pounds of chocolate chips and 5 pounds of walnuts, it's just like that previous problem. For 2 each of C, 2 pounds of chocolate chips and 5 pounds of walnuts, the total cost is $20. And for the second sentence, same kind of thing. For 8 pounds of chocolate chips and 3 pounds of walnuts, the total cost is $29. And there's our system. And you can use substitution if you want, but we can use elimination too. I think it might be a little bit faster, I don't know. So you want your variables lined up like they are, and the numbers, and then you want the C's or the W's to add up to 0. We'd get 10C here if we added them. We'd get 8W here if we added them. So it's not going to happen as it is. We need to make it happen. So I'm going to choose to multiply this by -3, this whole equation, everything, and multiply this one by 5. You see why I would do that? So I'll write the new system that we have over here. That would be 6C minus 15W equals -60. Multiplying -3 times each term, and then 5 times each term, so that's 40C plus 15W equals whatever 29 times 5 is. 145. So now see what happens with the W's. When we add them, they add up to 0. That's why I picked the -3 and the 5. So 40 minus 6 basically is 34C equals, because those add up to 0. 140 minus 60 looks like 85. So C will be 85 over 34. 85 divided by 34 is 2.5. So chocolate chips cost $2.50. Now, since we know C, we can find W by plugging in C for either one of those equations. So I'll use 8C plus 3W equals 29. And we know C is 2.5. So 8 times 2.5 is 20. So now I need to subtract 20 from both sides to make that appear over here so I can combine that with like terms. So I'm just going to do that this way. See, I subtracted 20 from both sides. That means 3W equals 9, and W would be 3 there. So this is $3. The next problem, a phone company offers 2 monthly plans. Plan A costs $20 plus an additional 8 cents for each minute of calls. Plan B costs $8 plus an additional 12 minutes of each calls. For what amount of calling do the two plans cost the same? What is the cost when the two plans cost the same? So 2 different companies, and they have the same kind of cost structure. So plan A for this company costs 20 plus an additional 0.08 for each minute of calls. Plan B involves $8 plus an additional 12 cents for each minute. And for what amount of calling do the two plans cost the same? It's just like that previous example where we will set them equal to each other. 0.08 or 0.08 M equals 8 plus 0.12 M. So I need to get the 20 and the 8 on the same side of the equal sign. So that I can combine them. And so I'll do that by subtracting 8 from both sides. And that'll make it disappear from the right side and appear on the left. So this is 12 plus 0.08 M equals 0.12 M. Now I need the M's on the same side of the equal sign. So I need that 0.08 M to disappear from the left side and appear on the right side. So to do that, I need to subtract. I need to write it correctly first. Subtract 0.08 M from both sides. And I'll take that right there. So what I'll have is 12 equals whatever 0.12 minus 0.08 is, 0.04 M. And so when I have that, I want the 0.04 away from M. So I'm going to have to divide by 0.04 on both sides. So that's 300. M is minutes, so 300 minutes is when the plans cost the same. What is the cost when the two plans cost the same? So You just take either one of these equations and plug in 300 for m, and you can find the answer for that. So I'll do that right here. I'll just use the bottom equation. I'm going to plug in 300 in for m and simplify that. So 3608. I think I missed a decimal. Should be 44. Much better. And don't forget to double check your answer or your math all through here. So 300 minutes and $44. For this problem, a sum of two numbers is 56. One number is 3 times as large as the other. What are the numbers? So the sum, remember, means plus, and we don't know what the numbers are. We'll use G and H for the heck of it, something different. So two numbers, we don't know what they are, but the sum of them is 56. And then one number is 3 times as large as the other. What are the numbers? So since we know what G is, we're going to plug that right into the other equation. That's one way to do it. I think it's probably the easiest. So I'll plug in 3H right in for G and solve for H. So we have 4H equals 56. And that's where you'll divide 56 by 4. And that's 14. And so one of the numbers is 14, and you can use either equation to find G. I'll use the top equation, what the heck. So if H is 14, I'll need to subtract 14 from 56, and that's 42. And you can check your answers as well. So the larger number is 42, the smaller number is 14. And so for this problem, a fruit company delivers its fruit in 2 types of boxes, large and small. A delivery of 5 large boxes and 3 small boxes has a total weight of 102 kilograms. A delivery of 2 large boxes and 12 small boxes has a total weight of 115 kilograms. How much does each type of box weigh? So each type of box refers to large and small. You can see here too what are 2 main things the problem is about. So we'll use L for large and S for small. So let's translate this first sentence into math. A delivery of 5 large boxes, so 5L plus 3 small boxes, 3S, has a total weight of 112 kilograms. And same kind of thing for the second sentence. A delivery of 2 large boxes plus 12 small boxes is a total weight of 115 kilograms. How much does each type weigh? So it looks like we could use the addition method again, and we need one of those variables to add up to 0. This would add up to 7L, and this would add up to 15S. We need one of them or both to add up to 0. So what I'm going to do is multiply this top equation by -2 and this bottom equation by 5 to make a 0 happen somehow. And so my problem now looks like when I multiply every term by -2, -10L minus 6S equals 112 times 2 is 224, so -224. And then 5 times each term here, that would be 10L plus 60S equals 115 times 5 is 575. And so to add those, you see what happens with the L's. That's why I chose -2 and 5, because I saw that would happen. So -6S plus 60S is 54S. and then I'm looking at 575 minus 224 is 351. And now I need that 54 away from S, so I'm going to divide both sides by 54. Where those will cancel. And S is 6.5. So S is the small box. And the weight of the small box then is 6.5. Now we have to find the weight of the large box. So we can use either top equation to find L. I'll use the bottom equation, I guess. So 2L plus 12 times 6.5 for S equals 115. And 12 times 6.5 is 78. So now I need the 78 and the 115 with on the same side of the equal sign so I can combine them. So I'll end up subtracting 78 from both sides. So 115 minus 78 is 37. So basically 37 divided by 2 will give me L, and that's 18.5. So this will be 18.5, which should be a larger number than the weight of a small box. So I would just check your numbers there, the math as well. 2 more problems. Tom will rent a car for the weekend. He can choose one of 2 plans. The first plan has an initial fee of $57 and costs an additional 14 cents per mile driven. The second plan has an initial fee of $48 and costs an additional 16 cents per mile driven. So when do the 2 plans cost the same? So this is just like the previous problem. So with the first plan, there's 2 parts to that cost. The 57 plus an amount per mile, so 14 cents per mile. The other plan has the same structure, but $48 plus 16 cents per mile. And when do they cost the same? That's when we will take those 2 expressions and set them equal to each other. Gosh, I cannot get my symbols right. 48 plus 0.16 m. So what I need is the 57 and the 48 to be on the same side. So I'll move the 48 over to the left so I can combine it with the 57. So that will happen if I subtract 48 from both sides. So 57 minus 48 is 9. So 9 plus 0.14 m equals 0.16 m. Now I need to subtract that 0.14 m from the left side, or from both sides, so it'll appear on the right side. So minus 0.14 m, subtract that 0.14 m from both sides. So that'll be 0, and I'll have 9 left equals 0.02 m. So that's where I'll have 9 divided by 0.02 equals m, because I have to get that 0.02 away from m, so I divide both sides by 0.02. M equals 450. So this is 450 miles. what is the cost when the two plans cost the same? So what is the cost? So this whole thing represents the cost. There's two parts to the cost for each plan. So you can pick either one. I'll choose the bottom since we know M. I'm going to plug it in and just simplify that. So 450 times 0.16 plus 48 is 120. So the cost is $120. On the next problem, the sum of two numbers is 58 and the difference is 20. What are the numbers? So you got a couple numbers again that we're adding, like A and B, and the sum of them is 58, and the difference of them, so A minus B, is 20. Find the numbers. So you have your system there, so you can use substitution, you can use elimination, either one. I'll choose to use elimination since they're set up so good. The A's are lined up, the B's are lined up, the numbers are lined up, and the B's will add up to 0. So that's good. So I'll go ahead and add those. This is 1A plus 1A, that's 2A. The B's add up to 0, so I have equals 78. And so to solve for A, I need 2 to go away from A. I'm going to do the opposite operation, divide. So A is 78 divided by 2, which is 39. Now I can find B by plugging in A into either equation. I'll use the bottom, so I know A is 39, and I've got to find B. So I need B to be positive to actually, like A is, so I can find B. So I'm actually going to add B to both sides. So plus B and plus B. So 39 equals 20 plus B. So I need the 20 to be subtracted from both sides. See that? It'll make it disappear from the right side. And you can just write it like that. So 39 minus 20 is 19. So the larger number is 39 and the smaller number is 20, as is 19. 39 and 19. So hopefully that helped really get you an A on this assignment. You got this video where you can repeat parts or replay any part or the whole thing, and then you have it for the final exam just in case any of these show up on the final.